It started with a single phone call. At exactly 2:43 a.m., my friend Mia called me, whispering, trembling. She said something was wrong in her town, Brighton Hollow, a quiet place surrounded by endless forest. I remember her exact words. "Eli, they're all gone." I laughed at first. I thought she was joking, maybe half asleep. But her voice wasn't playful. It was the kind of voice you hear when someone sees something they can't understand. Everyone, Eli. My parents, the neighbors, the whole street. Their cars are still here. The doors are open, but they're gone. The call ended with a sharp gasp, then silence. When I tried calling back, nothing. No tone, no voicemail, just a dead line. I didn't sleep that night. By sunrise, I was driving toward Brighton Hollow. It's about 60 miles from my town, but it felt like I was crossing into another world. The closer I got, the emptier the roads became. No cars, no birds, not even the wind. When I reached the city limits, the "Welcome to Brighton Hollow" sign was half torn down. The air felt thick, like breathing through fog. I parked near Main Street, and that's when I realized Mia wasn't exaggerating. The town was completely empty. Cars sat abandoned in the middle of the road, engines still warm. A grocery cart rolled lazily across the parking lot. Doors were open, lights still on in the diner, coffee still steaming on tables, but no people. Not one. I called her name. "Mia!" My voice echoed through the silence like it didn't belong there. Then I noticed something else. Every phone I picked up, whether in the diner, the post office, even the sheriff's station, had the same sound. Not a dial tone, not static. It was whispering. Low-layered voices, dozens of them, maybe hundreds, all saying the same thing over and over. "Don't look at the sky." By this point, my hands were shaking. I ran outside and, of course, looked up. The sky wasn't right. It wasn't blue or gray or cloudy. It was like looking into moving glass, shimmering shapes twisting inside it, bending light in impossible ways. Like something was pressing down from above, just behind the sky itself. Then, the church bell rang. But the clock tower had no hands. Every building's windows began to darken from the inside, as if shadows were spreading through them. My reflection in one of the windows started to move, even though I wasn't. It smiled, slowly, and then turned its head to face something behind me. When I turned around, I saw her. Mia. She stood in the middle of the street, barefoot, wearing the same hoodie from last night. But her eyes weren't hers anymore. They were black, wide, endless. "Eli," she said softly, "you shouldn't have come." Her voice wasn't her voice. It echoed twice. Once from her mouth and again from somewhere in the air above me. Then she lifted her hand and pointed at the sky. The glass cracked. A sound like thunder and screaming metal filled the air as light poured down, not white, not yellow, but alive, writhing like smoke underwater. I ran, covering my face, stumbling toward my car. I don't remember turning the ignition. I don't remember driving. I just remember the whispers getting louder, filling my head. "Don't look at the sky. Don't look at the sky. Don't..." And then nothing. When I woke up, it was morning. I was parked back in my driveway. My car was covered in ash, like it had been through a fire. My phone had one new message. An image sent at 3:15 a.m.
It was a photo of Brighton Hollow. Empty. Flattened. No trees, no buildings, no roads. Just a black circle of earth where the town used to be. And right in the center of that burned crater was a single line of text. You looked. That was 3 weeks ago. Now, every night, I hear the same whisper outside my window. It's her voice. Soft. Familiar. Eli, don't look up. If you ever wake up to silence outside, not quiet, but absence, don't go looking for where it went, because once you notice what replaced it, it might notice you back. Follow for more real horror stories that'll keep you staring at your ceiling tonight.
I drive trucks for a living. Long hauls, overnight routes, endless miles of asphalt and static-filled radio stations. I've seen almost everything on the road, but nothing like what happened on Highway 41 last November. It was around 1:30 a.m. when I lost signal on my CB radio. I tried switching channels, but everything was dead quiet. Not even the usual trucker chatter or white noise. Just silence. I turned on a local AM station to stay awake. The voice on it was low, distorted. I assumed it was some old preacher's broadcast until I realized the words were repeating. Mile marker 72. Stop. Mile marker 72. Stop. I thought it was me being ad loop gone wrong, but when I looked at the GPS, I saw it. Mile marker 72 was less than 5 miles ahead. For some reason, I slowed down. The fog was thick, the kind that makes your headlights useless. Then through the haze, I saw something on the shoulder, a flashing red light. I pulled over. It wasn't a car. It wasn't even a police car. It was one of those old radio towers, but small, maybe 15 feet tall, standing crooked in the dirt like it had been dropped there. No wires, no power source, just that single blinking light at the top. And from its speaker came a soft voice. Not from any radio station, from the tower itself. Stop. You're almost here. I felt something cold spread through my chest. Hello? I called out, stepping closer. Who's there? No answer. The voice repeated, slower this time. Stop. You're almost here. Then my truck's lights flickered. The engine sputtered. I turned back toward the cab, but there was someone sitting inside. At least, I thought it was someone. The shape in the driver's seat was dark, wrong, too tall, head almost touching the ceiling. It wasn't moving, but I could feel it watching me.
I ran. I don't even know where. Just away from that tower, that light, that thing. After a few minutes, I stopped to catch my breath and realized I'd been running in circles. Every direction I turned, the tower was still there. The same fog, the same blinking red light. The voice returned, louder this time. We can see you, driver. Keep your eyes open. I stumbled backward and tripped over something. It was a tape recorder, half buried in the dirt. The kind you'd find in an old police evidence box. I pressed play. Static. Then a voice. My voice, saying the exact same words I just heard. "We can see you, driver. Keep your eyes open." I dropped it and sprinted to the truck. When I opened the door, the figure inside was gone, but on the passenger seat lay a new object, a cassette tape with my name written on it in black marker. It read, "Playback after sunrise." I didn't listen. I threw it out the window and drove until the fog cleared. The sun came up hours later. I stopped at a diner in the next town and told a few drivers what I'd seen. Most laughed. One guy didn't. He looked pale, serious. He said, "You were on 41 last night?" I nodded. He leaned in and whispered, "Don't stop for the light. That tower's been gone since 1989, burned down after it broadcasted the emergency signal." "What signal?" I asked. He swallowed hard. "The one that never stopped playing." I laughed nervously, trying to brush it off. But when I got back in my truck, the CB radio turned on by itself. No static, no chatter. Just that same low voice. "Playback after sunrise." If you ever hear a voice on the radio calling your name, don't answer. Because once you respond, it's not you who's listening anymore. Subscribe for more stories you'll wish you heard with the volume off. When I was 17, I worked one summer as a counselor at a remote camp called Devil's Hollow. It sat deep in the Oregon woods, miles from the nearest town. The name should have been enough to scare me off, but the pay was good, and I needed the job. There were 7 of us counselors and about 30 kids. Days were filled with hiking, canoeing, ghost stories, normal camp stuff. But the nights were wrong. The forest never slept. You could hear it breathing. The first strange thing happened on the 3rd night. My friend Owen came back from a supply run, pale as paper. He said someone had been standing in the middle of the dirt road, blocking his car. When he honked, the figure didn't move. It just tilted its head and slowly raised a hand. But the hand wasn't waving. It was pointing toward the camp. We laughed it off as tiredness or shadows. But that same night, one of the kids in cabin 4 woke up screaming. He said there was someone outside the window, a tall man with his face completely blacked out. When we checked, there were footprints in the dirt leading straight from the forest to the cabin and then stopping halfway. No return prints, just vanished. By the end of the week, the kids started talking about the man who watches. We thought they were feeding off each other's fear, until we saw it too. It was close to midnight. A few of us sat by the dying campfire when we heard soft humming. Not singing, humming. Low, steady, just beyond the tree line. Owen called out, "Hey, whoever's there, the camp's closed." No answer. Then the humming turned into something else. Words. At first it sounded like wind through branches, then clearer. "You shouldn't have told the stories." The fire popped, sparks flying up like fireflies. And right beyond the glow, maybe 20 feet away, stood someone. Tall, thin, motionless. No flashlight, no reflection in the eyes, just
black. I grabbed the nearest stick and ran forward, but as soon as I left the light, the sound stopped. The forest went dead silent, even the crickets. And when I looked back, everyone was gone. The campfire was still burning, but the benches were empty. My flashlight flickered, and for a second, I thought I saw movement behind the cabins. I shouted their names. Nothing. That's when my walkie-talkie crackled. It wasn't the others. It was the same voice from the woods. You shouldn't have told the stories. I dropped the radio and ran to the main lodge. Inside, the emergency lights were on. The phones were dead. The clock on the wall read 3:13 a.m. Outside, the humming started again. But now it was everywhere, surrounding the camp, coming from the trees, the lake, even the empty cabins. And over it all, a voice whispered right behind my ear. They're all gone now. I spun around. No one. By morning, search and rescue arrived. They found me half conscious by the fire pit, clutching the dead radio. Every other counselor and camper, missing. The police searched for weeks. No tracks, no signs of struggle. Just the same phrase carved into the trees around the camp, deep and burned into the wood. You shouldn't have told the stories. The camp closed down that summer. I went back once, years later, just to see if it was real. The buildings were gone, overgrown with moss, but the fire pit was still there. And inside it, a half-melted walkie-talkie whispering softly through the static. You came back. If you ever hear humming in the woods, don't look for the source, because by the time you do, it's already found you. Subscribe for more true paranormal stories you'll wish you never heard alone.